Hey, how's it going? My name is Wes. Welcome back to the second part of our colors vocabulary lesson. In the previous lesson, we learned how to name some of the most popular colors in Spanish. And in today's lesson, we will build a bit upon that and we will look at different types of hair colors, for example, the different tones of colors that we have, and also we will look at some sentences about colors. So without further ado, let's get into today's lesson, the colors part 2 of 2. Alright, so let's start with the different types of hair colors that we have. And let's start with my own hair color, which is brown. So brown hair in Spanish is pelo castaño.
Pelo castaño. Pelo castaño.
So hair in Spanish is pelo. So pelo castaño, brown hair. And then for the people that don't have brown hair, but they have blonde hair in Spanish is
Pelo rubio. Pelo rubio.
blonde, when we talk about hair in Spanish, is rubio. So pelo rubio, blonde hair. And then, of course, as the last category of colors of hair, now, of course, there's different types of colors. You can color your hair in any type of color you want. But for now, we're just going to look at 3 different types of colors. So brown, blonde, and then we also have red hair, which is also referred to as ginger hair. And in Spanish, we call this
Pelo pelirrojo. Pelo pelirrojo.
which is red hair in Spanish. Alright, so then once we have the different types of hair colors out of the way, let's also take a look at the different types of colors that we have. So for example, a color can have a shade. And a shade, the word for shade in Spanish is
Tono. El tono.
And not only that, but colors can also be light or dark, for example. So light in Spanish is
Claro. Claro.
So for example, if you want to say light blue, then in Spanish this would be
Azul claro. Azul claro.
which is light blue. So the blue that is light blue. And then the word for dark, if you're talking about colors, is oscuro.
Oscuro. Oscuro.
So for example, if you want to say dark red, then you say rojo, which is red, oscuro. So the red that is dark red.
Rojo oscuro. Rojo oscuro.
Alright, and then to end this lesson, because today's lesson is quite a short lesson, I want to end with 4 more sentences about colors. So let's have a look at those as well. So, for example, if you want to ask someone what color is your t-shirt, because you're going somewhere and you might want to wear a matching t-shirt, then you could ask,
¿De qué color es tu camiseta? ¿De qué color es tu camiseta? ¿De qué color es tu camiseta?
So camiseta is the word for t-shirt. And just for the sake of practicing a little bit, let's try to break this sentence down a bit. So the first part, de qué, means of what. So de, of, qué, what, with the accent. Qué with the accent is, as we learned, what. Now, the next word, color, obviously is color. And then the word es means is. And tu is the Spanish word for your, which we haven't looked into yet. And then, of course, camiseta is t-shirt. So if you would literally translate this sentence, you would say something like, of what color is your t-shirt? So of what color is your t-shirt? And then, of course, to make it sound proper in English, we would translate this into what color is your t-shirt? So of what color, de qué color is your t-shirt? Es tu camiseta. Alright, so let's move on to the next phrase. Now, you've just asked someone what the color of their t-shirt is, so they might answer and they might say something like, my t-shirt is orange.
Mi camiseta es naranja. Mi camiseta es naranja. Mi camiseta es naranja.
And notice here that we are ending it with an A because camiseta is a feminine word. So if we say blanca, for example, which means white, then we also need to correctly conjugate that. So not blanco, but blanca. Camiseta blanca, camiseta naranja, and so forth. Alright, so then the next sentence which we can practice with is, what is your favorite color? Which in Spanish is,
¿Cuál es tu color favorito? ¿Cuál es tu color favorito? ¿Cuál es tu color favorito?
and then the last sentence, which is the answer to this question, is, for example, my favorite color is light green. So now we can add that word light that we just learned into this sentence as well. So,
Mi color favorito es el verde claro. Mi color favorito es el verde claro. Mi color favorito es el verde claro.
So my favorite color in Spanish is mi color favorito. So not mi favorito color, but mi color favorito. We switch it around. Then is, of course, is es, and light green is verde claro. And then in Spanish we add this el in between because we are talking about the color, which is a thing that we are talking about. So if we were to literally translate the sentence, it would say mi color favorito, so my color favorite, es el verde claro, is the green light. So mi color favorito es el verde claro. My favorite color is light green. Alright, and that's it for this lesson and also for this topic of colors in Spanish. Now, as always, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you got something out of this. And of course, I hope to see you in the next lesson. Until the next one. Adios.